I am Will Scott. Welcome into Dolphins Today. There is a lot of news and rumors to break down here. A lot of stuff coming out of Miami Gardens and Dolphins camp. But first, we're in a sub-battle with Eagles Now. So Eagles Now has a brand new host. It's Chase Sr., my guy, good friend of mine, but he's not a good friend of mine this week because we're trying to take down the Eagles channel. Go down, hit that big red subscribe button. We're trying to get more new subs before kickoff at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. Subscribe to the channel. Help us win the sub battle against Eagles Now and Chase Sr. Go down and subscribe if you're all about the Miami Dolphins. Let's start the show by talking about Mike Gesicki, because Mike Gesicki has been in a lot of headlines lately, right? Because there was a report from PFF yesterday that the Dolphins have included him in trade talks. He was franchise tagged in March after a career high 73 receptions in 2021. That category, I should say, ranked fifth amongst all tight ends. He's set to be a free agent after this season if he doesn't get tagged again. So that's kind of the thinking right now with the Dolphins. Well, we're probably going to lose him in free agency next offseason. Let's try to get something in return. Dan Orlovsky of ESPN chimed in saying that these teams might be fits. Indy, Cincy, Jacksonville, and Carolina, all listed as fits for Mike Gesicki, all teams that might show interest in the Dolphins tight end. Warren Sharp linked the Ravens to Mike Gesicki, saying they could have Bateman, Andrews, Gesicki. Likely that would be a deadly tight end room over there in Baltimore if they are able to make it happen. So we have seen multiple teams linked to Mike Gesicki in the last 24 or so hours since that report dropped, and multiple teams are likely going to be interested in Mike because of how big of a weapon he is. I understand the concerns about his blocking, but I think he would consider himself maybe more of a wide receiver because he lined up as a wide receiver in 77% of snaps in 2021. So, yeah, he's listed as a tight end on the depth chart. He got franchise tagged as a tight end, but he kind of lines up as a receiver and plays that role maybe better because he can't really block, and a tight end's job description, at least part of it, is to block. I want to know, what is Mike Gesicki? Is he a wide receiver or is he a tight end? Go down in the comment section, chime in. It is the pinned comment on today's video, so go and reply to it when you get a second. Is he a wide receiver or is he a tight end? Let's talk about this, too, because Mike McDaniel was asked at his press conference this morning about the Gesicki trade rumors. Here's what he said. These reports are tricky to me. During the training camp and during the offseason in general, GMs have work to do and are not just watching his coach. When somebody uses that loose verbiage that his name has been brought up, that report is misleading because there probably should be a lot of names in that report. And I'm focused on coaching Mike. Mike is focused on getting better. People have made stuff about this, that, and the other. He had a great week of practice this week, which tells you a lot about that individual because there clearly has been some random noise that he hasn't listened to clearly. So a couple takeaways here, but the main one being Mike McDaniel didn't deny it. Yeah, he used the word misleading, but he said it was misleading because, it's early, before the season. There's a lot of players that should be in trade rumors, not just Gesicki. So he didn't come out and say, no, we're not trading Gesicki. We haven't included him in trade talks. He just said that it's misleading because you could say the same about a lot of other guys, their names being brought up in trades recently. So Gesicki, as I mentioned, is playing this season on the tag. He's likely going to become an unrestricted free agent next year. And if he leaves, the most Miami could get for him is a third-round comp pick, which is why there's no shot that I'm trading Gesicki unless I get at least a third-round pick, because if they offer a fourth or fifth, well, you can get a third-round pick maybe next offseason. So I wouldn't accept anything less than a third. If Chris Greer does accept anything less than a third, he's a fraud. Now, here is my trade idea. This is an interesting one. Dolphins receive Tevin Jenkins and a fourth-round pick. The Bears receive Mike Gesicki and a fifth-round pick. So I want to ask y'all, who wins this trade? Is it the Bears or is it the Dolphins? The Dolphins need offensive line help. The Bears have hardly any weapons for their young quarterback, Justin Fields. That would be the appeal of bringing in Gesicki. So who wins the trade? Is it the Dolphins? Type MIA. Or is it the Bears? Type CHI. Down in the comment section, go down, chime in. Who would win this trade? Again, the Dolphins would be getting a fourth round pick in Jenkins. The Bears would be getting tight end Mike Gesicki and a fifth round pick. Something to monitor here. It'd be an interesting trade. Now let's get into this because Mike McDaniel called it stomach bug gate, which is happening in Miami right now, a stomach bug outbreak. But first, I want to tell you about this great deal we're giving you on a Tyreek Hill jersey. Chatsports.com/Tyreek. They're also available in the aqua jerseys as well. I love that one. That's my favorite one. It's a throwback one. You can get that jersey right here. Chatsports.com/Tyreek. That link is going to be in the comments and the description of this video. We just recently brought them back on sale. Not sure how long that sale is going to last. Go and take advantage. Mike Garafolo had what was going on at camp. The Dolphins, who canceled their joint practice with the Eagles today, are dealing with a stomach bug, sources say. Bunch of players sick, vomiting overnight. Tom Pelissero followed with this. Practice is canceled in hopes of stopping the spread so they can play the game on Saturday. So reading that, it does sound like it is at least a possibility that the Dolphins' final preseason game against the Eagles is going to be canceled. Mike McDaniel was asked about this outbreak this morning. Here's what he said. It all comes down to be wanting to be able to fully play the preseason game as planned. I didn't want to have half the team drained out from a stomach bug, fight through the heat, and then have a depleted performance in the preseason game. Because for a lot of those guys, it's the most important game of their career. And I hold a strong amount of value in that, and I didn't want to compromise that in any way. So what does this mean? That the joint practice with the Eagles has been canceled. It means that training camp is officially in the books. So just like that, Dolphins training camp has ended after 17 practices. That's it. So we're going to have the preseason game, hopefully, on Saturday. And then Tuesday, we will see the 53-man roster finalized. I'll say this, though. The Eagles are lucky that there was no practice today. Because yesterday, in the first joint practice, the Dolphins dominated the Eagles. It was absolutely no competition. Dolphins offense better than the Eagles defense. The Dolphins defense definitely one-upping the Eagles offense. Elliott Shore-Parks, who is one of the main Eagles beat reporters, was there. So this is unbiased, right? He's covering the Eagles. Here's what he said. One clear takeaway. Dolphins are better than the Browns. Of course, the Browns, the team that they played in their last joint practice, he's saying the Dolphins are way better than Cleveland. He said this yesterday, too. Practice is over. The Eagles lost. Dolphins definitely got the better of Eagles defense, and Eagles offense was not impressive. That coming from Elliott Shore-Parks, a Philadelphia Eagles beat reporter. So the Dolphins dominated the Eagles yesterday. And then in the joint practice against the Bucs 2 weeks ago, they looked better than Tampa Bay. So two teams that are expected to make the playoffs, the Dolphins dominated in the joint practices. That shows you how legit this Dolphins team can be. I think they're starting to get some attention from around the league because of how they looked at these joint practices. And I think the joint practices tell us more about the team because Tyreek has not played in the preseason games. Jalen Waddle has not played in the preseason games, but they played in those joint practices. Not Waddle yesterday, but you get my point. Here's some takeaways from that joint practice. Tyreek Hill burned Darius Slay. Slay, one of the better corners in the league. No match for Tyreek, and because of media rights and monetization, we can't show you the video, but I'll reenact it. Tyreek was going out, made the catch. Darius Slay went like this. Literally, that's not even much of an exaggeration. Darius Slay was no match for Tyreek Hill yesterday in that joint practice. Alan Poupart, I think that's how you pronounce it, said this in Sports Illustrated. Hill was the dominant player in the first practice against the Eagles. And it started in one-on-one drills when elite corner Darius Slay just couldn't keep up with him. Hill continued in 11-on-11 work, catching 3 passes for 65 yards, including one where he maintained great concentration after a Tua pass went through the hands of Slay. Tua also looked sharp. That's been kind of the theme that we've been seeing in these joint practices, that Tua has looked very, very good. He went right at the Bucs defense 2 weeks ago, went right at the Eagles defense yesterday. In my opinion, those are 2 top 10 defenses right there. And Tua looked very sharp. So that's good to see because Tua's stat line yesterday was this: 14 of 20, 155 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Tua looked solid yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles. We also had an update on Andrew Van Ginkel that we learned yesterday. So AVG has missed the last couple practices for an undisclosed reason. We did not know. Now we know. He had his appendix removed. He's expected to be ready by the start of the season or at least by week 2. The Dolphins worked out free agent edge rusher Trey Flowers yesterday, many thinking that the reason they did so was because of this AVG situation. So we don't have an update on the Trey Flowers situation. I should say he worked out yesterday, and today he still remains unsigned by the Dolphins. So we'll certainly keep you updated and turn on your notifications because if the Dolphins do sign Flowers, I can promise you we're going to be the first Dolphins YouTube video to get y'all news about that. But the good news with AVG is this is not a long-term thing. He should be ready by the start of the season, which maybe you can make the argument you shouldn't bring Flowers in if AVG is going to be back pretty soon. Now let's get into the news that I'm sure a lot of y'all tuned in for. J.C. Tretter announced his retirement from the National Football League today. Tretter was the number one free agent target for the Dolphins, at least my number one target, for months. Now, J.C. to Miami, that movement is over. J.C. Tretter putting out a retirement announcement on social media this morning. Here's what he said. In May 2011, I wrote myself a letter. At the time, I was a 250-pound tight end rehabbing from meniscus surgery and deciding what to do with my life. The letter began, today, May 7th, 2011, 2:35 a.m., you decided that you will become a professional athlete. You will get drafted, and you will play in the NFL until you want to stop. Today is August 25th, 2022, 8:30 a.m., and I have decided to fulfill the second part of my letter, to stop playing when I wanted to on my own terms. I am proud of what I've accomplished and how far I've come from that night when I made the pledge to myself. Man, JC's got me over here emotional, bro. My time on the field may be over, and I'm not stepping away from football. I'm looking forward to doubling down on my work as NFLPA president and pushing for more progress on behalf of the great players of our game, past, present, and future. So congrats to JC, man. Congrats to JC. I know a lot of us are upset by the news, but congratulations to him. A 9-year career. He was the best center in the NFL the last several seasons, and he's going out, I wouldn't say on top, but he's going out when you could make the argument he was still in his prime. I mean, that's how good of a player he was at the age of 31. So congratulations to JC. Certainly wish him the best in his future endeavors. I mean, admittedly, I'm sad, right? I mean, I knew that this day would come where JC would retire or sign with another team because it never really looked like the Dolphins were serious about addressing the center position, unfortunately. But what we did learn today is that the NFLPA rumor was legit. The fact that that no teams were signing him because he was the NFLPA president. There's obviously some rumors about, man, why is JC not signing anywhere? Does he want more money than teams are willing to give him? Is there injury concerns? But this is the one that remained consistent in terms of what people were saying, that teams were blackballing him because he was the NFLPA president. Sports Illustrated did a feature this morning on J.C. Tretter. Here is a piece of that column. And then there is how Tretter's agent explained the lack of movement. I got a call in mid-June, Tretter told Sports Illustrated. And it was like, I didn't realize how many people you pissed off. Friends, family, fellow members of the union leadership are frustrated and bothered at Tretter's ongoing lack of a deal, he says. As his former Cleveland linemate Joel Bitonio recently told reporters at Browns training camp, when you have a guy that's top 5, top 10 at center in the league, and he's not on a roster, and he's the NFLPA president, it seems a little suspicious to me. So it's pretty clear at this point that JC is unsigned and now retiring because no teams were picking him up because he was the NFLPA president. That was said in Sports Illustrated today. In fact, I listened to a Twitter Spaces that his father was on. His father obviously had a lot of behind-the-scenes information that he was sharing on that Spaces. Really, the main thing that he shared was that everyone felt like no teams were signing him because of the NFLPA stuff. But I want to thank all of you because JC to Miami was a movement. What we did, getting that trending on Twitter was special, and it was a movement that lasts months. We got the Dolphins' attention, I think, well, maybe not Chris Grier's attention, but at least the Miami Dolphins Twitter account's attention. Hashtag JC to Miami. That was a lot of fun. Certainly thank you to all of you for partaking in that. But is the founder of JC to Miami, we're closing the book on that. But we're not closing the book on Lucina to Miami. It's about dang time that the Dolphins address the center situation. They can do that by bringing the best center in the USFL to the Miami Dolphins. Hashtag Lucina to Miami. Let me see it down in the comment section. This train is still rolling. This train is still rolling. I'm the conductor of this train, and we're not stopping this train. Hashtag Lucina to Miami. Let me see it spammed down in the comment section.